Hey everybody! Back with episode 3. Super excited to be back. That's how you do 3. Hey, I'm Marcos, also known as Mojo49 on Twitch, and this is...
Hi, I'm Haley, also known as Lil Chicken Q on Twitch.
And this is
Life on Twitch.
I feel like we've just been kind of back and forth on and super busy.
I know. I feel like I haven't really streamed a lot in the last 2 weeks. Apologies to my viewers, and just apologies for being...
She's too addicted to Naruto.
It's okay. Yes. But also, I guess something else I'm going to talk about later. It's just something else with games right now. I feel like I'm in kind of a rut. I guess I was going to talk about that too.
Different games.
Yeah, but you've
It's
been
hard.
streaming.
I've been streaming a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I really like to play Warzone.
Yeah.
I don't play it enough, and I think I get a little burnt. As soon as I get on, I get a dub, and then I'm like, okay, I did it. I beat the game. I'm off.
I beat the game. I'm
beat
done.
the game. I'm good. I got a 12 kill dub. I'm good. Bye. But no, I don't know. I just I play a couple times. I don't really have a team or a squad to really grind it out with.
Yeah.
So I play a couple solos, and I typically will get a win, and then I'll be like, cool, that was enough, and then I get off. Honestly.
Kind of like how I was with Fortnite. I would play some games and get really close.
Right.
And then there'd be a point where I actually won. I was like, all right, that was a pretty good game. I don't think I should play anymore. I think I should get off. Because I know the next game I'm gonna play, I'm just gonna get angry again. So
yeah, I feel that. The only person I like to talk about is Nick Merckx. I know, but he just won a pretty big tournament. It was a $100,000 tournament. It was called Toronto Ultra, and it was him, Swags, and Diaz, I believe. I've never heard of Diaz. Oops, I just tapped the microphone. Never heard of Diaz before, but no, it was nuts, dude. The game, there were close games. Nick did he had a couple clutch moments, and I think so did Swag. And then there was a 1v3 clutch moment where that put them into the running for the finals, or that made one of the scores. Excuse me, I'm burping.
Come on, man.
Sorry, accident. So that was super cool. It was super cool to watch that happen live.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the cool things about Twitch, that watching bigger streamers. We were talking about this before. It's more like a viewing party.
yeah, it's watching a show. It's kind of it's like you watching baseball.
Right. Exactly. Just like watching baseball. These are the top guys doing exactly what, I can't do. And they're doing it to the fullest, and just watching him win, celebrate, party, talk to everybody. Literally he won and he was like, honey, the tequila.
¿Qué pasa?
And literally she came down, handed him tequila, and he's like, ¿Qué pasa? And he was just slamming tequila. He was so happy.
That's so funny.
It was actually I was so excited to watch that whole thing happen, and I was just super hyped. And then he gave $5,000 away to the community in increments of $100 Amazon gift cards.
Yeah.
And then I think Swag and Diaz also gave away 1,000 or 5,000 as well. So
Damn.
just overall dope stuff to the community.
Wait, so it was $100,000 split between 3 people?
Yeah. I think they split $100,000 three ways. So I think each of them got 30 something K, and then however that works out, I don't know.
Damn, that's crazy. That's so much money.
Right.
Wow.
No, it's great. But yeah, so and then doing that, and then a big new game right now is Fall Guys.
Oh yeah, that game is so funny, dude. It literally is like a jelly bean Mario Party kind of feel.
Right. I think you take Wipeout, and you take Battle Royale, and you take stupid jelly beans.
Yeah.
Dumb jelly bean
Oh,
physics.
jelly bean guys. They're so funny. They just waddle. I get so angry. I'm yelling at my guy. I'm like, why the fuck are you falling so much? Literally, get up. It's you're.
Dude, I had the worst time. I clipped it.
Oh my God.
I'll show the clip right now. Just boom, bang, thrown to the ground. A propeller just coming around, smacking me
Smacked in the head.
Yeah, if you don't know the game, it's basically you're a bunch of jelly beans. It's a battle royale status where there's 60 players to start with, and you have four or 5 rounds, and only one person can win. And it's in the series of MXC courses or Wipeout courses, kind of like Ninja Warrior but funny. And there's just rounds to that, and you get eliminated as you go along. And you take that, and then at the very end, there's like Mario Party-esque mini games, and then basically there can only be one winner.
Yeah.
Very simple game.
Pretty funny. They're experiencing a lot of issues with the lobbies, which is probably because so many people are playing.
Right.
They'll just like randomly kick you out, and dude, I was so pissed, man.
They were like, we didn't expect it to be this big, and I was like, well, like it came at the perfect moment because it gave everybody a break from just like
just feeling like they're just stuck in whatever game that they're playing.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
So what, you don't like playing the competitive like FPSs right now, or you're just not?
I feel like right now, like, and that's kind of partial some of the reason why I wasn't like, I took a break from streaming, was the only game that I really like I am a competitive person.
Right.
Like I'm a very competitive person when I play. You see me be competitive. Like I am a competitive person. And like as much as I love like Sims and Minecraft, Fall Guys, and Fall Guys has some competitiveness to it, which is fun. It's like a friend competitive feel. Mm-hmm. Even like Scribblio, when we play Scribblio, you know what I mean?
Right,
it's like,
right.
But even like games like that, I can only take so much because I feel like I just want to, like, if this sounds so, I just want to shoot people. No, I love FPS games. I always have ever since I was younger, ever since I started gaming. But yeah, as of recently, I feel a little stuck because the only game that I really enjoy anymore and the technical stuff isn't as bad is like Valorant.
Right.
And like Fortnite, that like went downhill, and it sucks because I miss playing that game a lot. And I could literally sit on Fortnite for like 12 to 15 hours and not change games because of how much I loved it. And Call of Duty, like, I just don't like the flow of it very much. I just don't understand it like anymore, I guess, as a battle royale. I get deathmatch or like team deathmatch and like capture the flag. Like I used to do that growing up.
Sure.
But like the battle royale version of it is just not my flow. I hate being dead for 20 minutes. I hate like I don't know. I just can't get into it. But I'm trying. I try. I just get angry because I'm not like great at it.
Right.
Like, but Valorant has been really tough on me lately, just because like I this is also a new game that I'm not really used to because I never played CS:GO, and I'm like, it's a computer game, and all I do is aim down sights of all the games I've ever played.
Right.
And it is like a tough game to maneuver. I'm not gonna lie. Like if you're not like doing things on abilities, it is a tough game.
I just think like those games can get really frustrating because if you don't have a full team to play with, that's always an excuse of like, I don't have a team, so like I can't really do, strategy, or like you could blame the game on losing because your teammates aren't that good, and that's typically a reason why you lose. Like teammates aren't playing the game.
But there's also another issue that's come up, and it's coming up more and more, which is I don't mind going into random queues too much.
Okay.
Like we have done that. Like mostly if you're with me, it doesn't really happen too much because I feel like you'd say something. But like,
you mean all the toxic people that are
all
like,
the toxic people make that game really hard to play by yourself. And especially when like, not to just single out girls, but like all I see on social media recently is so many things about like just girls that playing the game, and they're not terrible, even if they are terrible. Like, oh well, it is this energy.
It's a reason for these like dickheads to be toxic, and then like obviously if you're good at the game, they don't say anything, or they're just like
that's not true.
And if you're bad at the game, they shit on you worse. Like,
right, but like I watched a girl, like I have a friend that I had through I don't know if you know her, but her name's Eileen. Mm-hmm. The one girl that I did that one org with. Anyway, she's also on Twitch if anyone wants to follow her. But like, she's really cool, and she's really, really good at that game. Like, she is nuts. Mm-hmm. She one-dings people all the time. Like, she was always good at any video game she ever played. She played, and I remember she posted a video a while ago. She top fragged out of everyone, like 40 kills, and they still were talking shit on her. And it just happens, and they're just like, "Oh, go back to the fucking kitchen. Like, you're a bitch and you're this and you're that. And no, like,
Right.
like you're like all these things that it's like, okay, I get it. It shouldn't matter. Just brush it off. But when you're sitting, and you can mute, right? I get it. But why does it have to come to that point? Why does it have to come to the point where I can't even jump on a game and enjoy it because I am immediately frowned upon before I even like talk?
Right.
Like, it is just the worst feeling. It feels so uncomfortable. It feels so degrading. It's just like, I'm not trying to be like all crazy, like feminist, like right now, but I'm just like, that is something that happened recently to me again. And then I watched a video on it like 2 nights ago and I'm just like, God, and there's girls that are like, I'm sensitive, but there's even girls that are more sensitive than me and it really hurts them. And a lot of like, some people stop streaming because of what other people say.
Right. I think the only like, yes, that's terrible. And like, we should, the more we talk about it, the more we post about it, the more the community gets at, and not just, I mean, the community, the women, like they're already doing that. But I think the men, like the more men learn that it's a real problem for the women that they're playing with, and the more men hold other men accountable for that kind of stuff. Right, because you go to a lobby and sometimes that'll happen, and some guy will be like, "Yo, dude, chill out." Like you'll get that, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the guy's like, "Oh no, fuck you, blah blah." You know, like it's like, yeah, cool, like that. Everyone did their part there. Like you know, the guy stood up in the sense for like, I guess for men, I don't know, but he did his part. Like other guys need to hold other men accountable for like their bullshit, you know, and that's true. And then we get to this point where it's like, yeah, but we're also online. And if some kid on the other side of the receiving, you know, on the other mic wants to be TOS, wants to say a bunch of shit, wants to curse and do whatever, you know, it's like yeah, like it's not necessarily like just like ignore it, walk away, but it's like, yeah, like mute it and move on. You know, but do the necessary steps, you know, like
right.
It's a very hard place to sit in. You're like, what do I do?
And it also, there was another person I was watching recently and it was a guy that this was happening to, a friend that I was watching him stream. And this group of guys that like, I'm assuming just maybe 2 of them were in Discord because the other 2 weren't really talking, whatever. They were being so messed up to him that like, sure, they were saying all these things, just like, terrible things, like, dude, and all he mentioned was like, hey man, like I know you don't like me, and I guess maybe like he maybe shouldn't have said this, but he's like, I'm streaming, so you can't really say those words, like I'm gonna have to mute you if that's the case. And it blew up even more. Like
they came into his stream
and then harassed him, and then even like, so he muted all of them, reported them, whatever, stopped and like tried to take him out of chat, you know, like whatever, like ban him on chat. And then they started sabotaging the game. So they would like run in front of him. They would like do stuff to like, they throw like fire under his feet to where he'd die. Like they were sabotaging the gameplay in a competitive match.
Right.
And it was like, he can't even play the game anymore because they're ruining it. And they're like in mid match and it's like, I don't want to derank. I don't know what to do. You can't just turn off the game and leave. You can, but like, sure, it's like, okay, if it is harboring at you this much, it's like, yes, you can step away, turn off the game, stream something else for 30 minutes.
Right.
But it also, why does it need to come to this point? I also think that like, I don't know, maybe I'm in the middle about this. I like that like you can, if your game crashes, you can get back into the match right away. That's really cool. I've never really seen that before in a game.
Right. I mean, Counter-Strike's like that. And
see, I didn't even know that.
Rainbow Six is like that. Like,
but I also hate that at the same time because it's like, I want to leave, but you can't really just leave.
Oh, you have to like stop playing.
You have to stop playing for a certain amount of time. And then a lot is taken away from your rank.
Right. I definitely think that the gaming community, developers of games, like maybe like this is something that maybe we could try to like go into the, because one of the devs, I think is Morello for Valorant, streams.
Oh.
And he streams Valorant and he listens to people and he goes like, yeah, like we're working on this. He answers lots of questions and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I definitely think that's a great point. It's like, hey, like when is somebody going to do something real about the toxicity in the game, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if you follow them on Twitter, but I remember a little while back before the second chapter came out, it was funny because the guy would post, he's like, oh yeah, so for all the reports of like people hacking and stuff like that, like we really did take all those into account and we sent an email kind of being like, oh, like this is us being like, we did it for you. Like, we banned this person just for you. Kind of like a, there you go, like a little, like you're welcome gift. And then I get it. I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like, games don't really do that. That's cool that they do that. But then, of course, like a girl commented on it. And understandably, from her point of view, like, that's the thing, is like, okay, sure. But she goes, okay, cool. You did this for all the hackers. But what about the people who, like, say death threats, say misogynistic, homophobic comics, like abusive, mean, terrible things, sabotage your gameplay?
Right.
Like,
they do ban those people though, because we've seen people get banned for being toxic. You know, we know people that firsthand that have gotten warnings or have been banned from chat. You know, like they do different things. But yes, you're right. Like, there needs to be a serious way to be like, yo, like, this is a serious thing and you need a team to investigate these, you know. And I get it. It's hard because there's probably like 100 people on the team, if that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, millions of people that play.
No, 1,000%.
So it's
I
not
understand
really,
that.
you know, it's not an easy task, but, and I think one of the biggest things that they could do is make it harder to make another account. Like, oh, like if you want to play competitive, you have to verify your account with a phone number and with this, and there can't be two, you know what I mean? So like, oh, like, hey, like, you want to play competitive? Okay, you make your account, and then on that competitive account, you have to link your phone number to that competitive account so that you can play comp. And I get it, like, people are like, oh, not everybody has a phone, or like, there's a lot of argument there, but like, there has to be some way that
there has to be some sort of filter.
So that if that account gets banned, like, you're fucked. You can't play anymore.
Yeah, so you can't be toxic. And it's like, it's crazy because I was also thinking about this the other day. I'm like, wow, what is, or it's, I see a lot of things on Twitter. So that's like where I get a lot of like things like from games. But it's funny because someone's like, wow, Fortnite is the most toxic community out there. And I'm like, honestly, I really, okay, yes, the gameplay can be very toxic, as in like annoying toxic, right? Because it's just a bunch of 12-year-olds on their controller spamming people, whatever. But
but that's the game. Like,
but
you know, like.
But the thing is, like, but like, that's not like true toxicity. I think the most toxic game that I've played is CSGO and Valorant.
Yeah.
And even like COD back in the day, sure, like when you get on and it's like a bunch of these teenage boys and you're like a small teenage girl, and I got more like, oh my God, it's a girl, rather than like, fuck off, like type of thing back in the day when I used to play.
Right.
Versus like now, like obviously we just play with our friends. I don't really play with voice chat on, but like I heard that COD always used to be super toxic, and because it just always has been, but like CSGO for sure.
Dude, every time
toxic.
Every time you run into a girl in Counter-Strike, like they are the wittiest sons of fuckers, you know, like they are great. They are like, there's so many great clips out there of like a guy like doing something like that, like, oh, gamer girl, or like, oh, like fucking blah, 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 like saying, you know, nasty shit. And that girl comes up and back with like the wittiest, hardest stuff. Cause like the girls that made it on CSGO, like to the higher ranks, like they have tough fucking skin because they deal with it all the time.
All the time.
They're just getting it all the time. So they're so like on it and witty, you know, and that's not necessarily like at least they're witty, you know, because obviously there's, you know, you have to cater to everybody.
But like you are right that it's like maybe at one point it did hurt, and then it's kind of like now this like if I love this game so much, this can't consume me.
But it also just proves that like it's a very toxic place because they're well, you know. But yeah, of course, like it's one of those things. I mean, like it's rough because you feel like outnumbered a lot of the times when you're a girl, right? So you feel like even if I was,
you have to prove something,
right? Which is so fucking stupid.
It's the worst feeling.
And so that part is very, very tough. And when you compare it to like streaming, you know, like you get those same types of people that'll come in and just start being like, you're ugly, you're fat, you're gross, you suck at video games.
You only get everything that you get is because you're a girl.
Yeah, like you're only popular because you're a girl and blah blah, and like
yeah, you're actually like it does suck.
I think all this sums up. It's like, I think very much like not doing nothing but ignoring and like coming above it in the video game world, I guess. It's hard because it's not like don't do anything. It's like, no, like I always say something. I'm like, yo, bro, you need to chill. Like, you're terrible. That's disrespectful. Or like, you know, something like, hey man, like cut that shit out, you know?
Yeah.
Or even when people come to my chat, I'll ban them and I know they can still hear me because they can still talk, you know? And I'll be like, this is why you got banned, because you're being disrespectful and you should not make other people feel this way. if you really want friends here, if you really want to be a part of a community, you're going about it the very wrong way.
But it's like that. But that's the thing. Like that. This is another thing that I was.
Yeah,
like,
they don't care, right?
They don't. Well, they. I mean, I think there's different cases. Like I think that there's people who we talked about this. You remember, like about attention seeking, and this is like when I saw my friend the other night, and you go through. I'm like, dude, like this is the same shit. Like it's like I wonder if these people. And the thing is, like, I don't mean to like single out men in this, you know, like I hate that. I'm not trying to sound like I hate men, you know, when I say like men do this, because not all guys do. And it happens to guys as well. But I haven't so far come across a girl do this on video games. So this is the only reason why I say men. Like, I don't know if there's some sort of
it's
like.
Not, at this point, it's not really men versus women. It's just like like who's the dominant source versus the like the you know like the or like. Who's the popular gender versus the non, you know, so there's a lot more men here. Like, I guess if there was like, if we turned the tables to where like a men trying to come into like a women's scene, quote unquote, like I'm sure there'd be some of this stuff, but I mean, typically women are more like caring and understanding and
nurturing.
not too, nurturing, not too fucked up.
I don't know, some women could be bitches, but like,
I mean, for sure, but like, I think generally speaking, like, can be more accepting into communities.
Yeah. I definitely see that. And I honestly, it kind of makes me just think about like, okay, well, this boy, because like guys who act like that, they're not men, they're boys. And they're fucking ignorant. But like on the case of like, okay, if we're trying to understand them on a deeper level, it's like, oh, you did not get enough tension. Like, and maybe you did get enough, but like, you did not, there could be like a reason, like you did not get enough tension growing up, and there's some sort of like issues deep within you to literally act this ridiculous and inhumane towards another person. There is a misconnection between you and understanding other human beings. And it's like, yes, that's like looking in the good of like, they're just ignorant, like as in they just don't know.
No, but I think
then there's also people who are like, no, they got everything they wanted and they're just like fucking like fuck you. You know what I mean?
But I mean that's even a problem too. Like just because you got everything you wanted or didn't get anything you wanted, like those can be roots of problems either way.
Right.
But I think what you're saying is very valid because like, and it feeds into what I was saying. It's not so much ignoring it, but it's finding a way or a term to come above it and be like, and
not feed into the hate, I guess.
Right. Because like you got a lot of fucked up shit going on with yourself.
Obviously, to be acting this way.
And I'm not going to open my gates to allow you to poison and bleed into us and my community, especially as a streamer, like my community. So you got to go. And I think as a streamer specifically, as the head of, you know, the pact, because you're the streamer, you're the head, you know?
Yeah, you're
the leader.
Little alpha.
You're the little alpha.
Little alpha person.
and you have to set an example for your community on how to deal with these problems, set an example for the people that are doing these problems that like, oh, like it really doesn't affect me and like you're gone. Oh, you made a bunch of, like the other day, me and you both had like 20 accounts made, all troll names like Marcos is shitty or Haley sucks at video games.
Yeah,
like,
I know. I was
like a bunch of random, like, and there was nastier ones, but you know, whatever. And I was like, oh, hey, like, thanks for more followers, man. I needed them.
Yeah.
You know, ban. Oh, cool. Bye. You know, like, you know, whatever. And it stopped. Like he pushed as hard as he could and then it just stopped. And I was like, yeah, because guess what? Like you're putting a lot of effort and I'm literally doing nothing but setting an example for my community and being like, your toxicity is so like, it's not fueling into anything. It's literally just going away, you know? And if you fuel the person's toxicity, that's what they want.
Right. Because they want the attention. It's like, that's what they're seeking for.
Right.
They're looking for a reaction.
And I think that's a good way to handle these things up to like 99% of it. Mm-hmm. And I think, someone that we could definitely bring on and talk to is our friend Amy. Cause I feel like she's dealt with a lot of like people like posting her address on her chat, like finding out like where she, like stuff like that, like crazy shit like that. And I know I talked to her about it before and she had a lot of cool things to say about it. You know, at one point, but you know, I think she deals with it really well, you know, in her stream. And even, I think I've even talked to her where she's like, yeah, like there's been times I just couldn't even like stream for a little bit just cause like it was hard, you know?
And that's like kind of like, it isn't like a sole reason why I'm not streaming, but there are reasons of like, sometimes the chat, as much as like they're amazing and I love them, but there are times that like chat makes you feel bad, dude. Like, and I know maybe it couldn't be like intentional to even like certain friends or viewers. Maybe someone wasn't even trying to be toxic, but sometimes it puts you in a really weird position that you do essentially, I wouldn't say have to put on a show because you want to be as true to yourself as possible, but not everyone's going to connect with who you are and will sometimes clash with your personality. And sometimes it's put me in a really awkward position. And for those who like maybe understand this, or maybe this has happened to them like in a relatable place, like, yeah, it really does like suck. And it kind of puts you in this like, I don't know what to say. And it like gives you anxiety of like, what is the right thing to say? What's the wrong? And there is no right and wrong. It's just what you believe, but you don't want to come across like a certain way. And it puts you on a hot seat. Like when you're a streamer, you're on the hot seat a lot of time when you have like different people come in. And especially when, just from me personally, when you're a female, because you really got to watch what you say, watch what you do, watch what you wear, watch the way you come back and just sit down in your chair. Watch like everything you do.
Right.
It like, gets really like exhausting. It does.
Right. I mean, and that's like we talked about this before, like men and women both carry a certain side of the shittiness of humans.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, it's on both sides. I definitely think women have it harder on a lot of like the emotionally draining things. Yeah. You know, because men attack those things essentially. And like I said, like we're not saying this is how it is for everyone all the time, 24/7.
Right.
It definitely happens enough to talk about it.
It happens enough to where multiple people have come to me with this. Multiple people have talked about it in their stream, or I've seen it online.
Like it's not 24/7 terrible, but this happens often
enough.
And a lot of our friends have gone through this, and a lot of the women that we know have gone through this. And like I said, like after all this is talked about, I think the takeaway is that is how we as a people can slowly infect more and more people to cut the shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And sometimes like the words, and let's say like you are this person that is toxic. Sometimes the words you say, as much as like it's you joking around, can actually hurt someone in some way, shape or form, and it's like, you just kind of like have to just take a step back and be like, why am I doing this?
Right. I think like,
I'm not saying that any of our listeners are like that, but I'm just saying if you are listening to this and you find yourself in that position, kind of think about the reason why you joke around like that and why it is.
Right. And I think like, and people are like, oh, like some people can't change. I'm like, no, I definitely think people can change, because I feel like 10 years ago in the gaming community, it was very much okay to say certain words online.
Yeah.
Right. And we as a community realized that that's not okay, and that it actually hurt people, and it wasn't funny. It wasn't fun in games. And I think we as a community went, okay, cool. We're not going to say those words anymore, And I'm not going to say that I was like, oh, I've always been perfect. Like, no, like when I was a kid gaming, like we said the words that everybody said when they were angry, when they were messing around. But we've realized our mistakes and we grew as people. And so I definitely think that conversations like this, and again, like just being a spokesman for a second in those little moments, that things happen, to be like, that's not cool. You're probably like she's just someone that just wants to play a video game and you're really making it hard for her, dude. Like now you're muted. Now goodbye. Like say your piece. And if it continues, mute. And if for some reason, like out of the blue, they're like, you know what? You're right. Shit, I'm sorry, bro. I was just kidding. I was actually just kidding. Sometimes you get that. People are just like, my bad. I was just kidding, dude. Like honestly. And then they're cool. Right.
Yeah.
And some people just kid like that. And that's why there's definitely a group of people that are like that same pool. Like we used to say these words and now we don't. And they realize it and they're like sane humans. And that's cool because we can like be like that little chipping stone that gets them to the, to the place where we want them to be, I guess, like lets them be less fucked up.
As much as a negative impact can have on somebody, I guess a positive impact can as well. Like you never know what kind of impact,
right.
Like, it's like, yes, ignoring it is rising above it. But like how you said, like if someone speaks up about it, that speaking up is just doing something.
Right.
And like, I wish that more people did, and a lot of people are just like, I don't want to get involved. And that's totally fine, because it kind of even goes about like the world, right?
Sure.
Like nobody really wants to be involved because they don't want it to fall on them. And I totally get that. But sometimes just that one person to speak up about one thing could really make an impact on something. And I think that's like, finally, people are starting to like see the kind of shit that like has been probably going on since way before I was streaming, before I even played video games. That's been in the community. If any girl would ever play a game, I know that this isn't the first that this has happened.
No, for sure. And it's ridiculous. It's like, can we just all play a video game and
right?
like
It's
focus
like,
on
who cares?
gaming?
Like, and it's like, oh man, and like that's like there was a part of me at one point when like I have been told I am very shitty at a video game. I've been told this multiple times, and like it does suck because how much I actually love gaming, and it's made me feel bad in a place, but anytime that I'm like, okay, I need to redirect this out of an insecurity into like, you know what? I'm just gonna be better. As in like, and it's pushed me to want to play better in a way. Like, I'm just gonna be better than you.
Right.
Like, and maybe that's a bad way to think about it. But like, no, one day I'm just gonna be better than you.
No, that's a great way to think about it. But like also like, fuck whoever is like, you're bad at a video game. We spend a lot of time doing this, and it's hurtful when someone's like, yo, like what you're doing is like fuck that person, dude. Really, like it baffles me when someone's like, you're bad, like it says it to you too, like you're bad at this game. I hope you know. Do you know that you're bad at the game? It's like,
oh man, especially when it gets into death threats. That's when it's like, yo, you got an issue, dude. Like
it just, and I'm just like, I don't even understand why you want to say that to someone. Like
that's what I'm saying. That's like what it's always like baffled me about certain people that I'm like, where in some right mind that you're like, this is the thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it, and I feel good about saying it. And it's just like, yeah, I said it. And it's like, you have to be pretty like not like some screw is loose enough for you to act this way, instead of putting hatred on it. Like, they're just a fucking asshole, and they probably always have been their whole life that fuck this guy. Yeah. I guess more or less I'm like, this person could have went through some bullshit growing up, or like maybe he just doesn't get enough attention from his friends or his parents and he feels the need to act out. Maybe he's got some shitty siblings. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like that, and that's like how it goes sometimes.
Right.
It's like everyone says like, well, a lot of people who don't understand like what we do, right? Like friends or whoever, they're like, well, why does it matter that much? It's a fucking video game. Calm down.
Right.
And it's like, you don't understand how much time is invested into streaming, and I get it because you don't understand streaming. Right. And like, this is going to be like a whole nother thing we can talk about in a different segment about like friends and family trying to understand like people when you want to stream and like how they don't accept it, because we have a lot to talk about that and a lot of personal stuff. But that's one of the worst things. It's like, oh, it's just a video game. Why do you care this much about a game like feeling like it's ruined, or if it's like, or someone being like messed up or like ruining this game for you or whatever. And it's like, I sit down here and possibly stream from 3 to like 15 hours a day. Let's just say it. Like, you know, when I was streaming full time.
Right.
Do I want that to be filled with just toxic feelings? It's like, I'm going to hate what I do. That's not like, for you to say it's just a game. It's like, yes, it is a video game. I get it. But this is like what we do. This is our job. It's like me being like, oh, it's just like fucking paperwork in a cubicle. Just do it.
Right.
Like, it's just like, oh, fix a car. It's not a big fucking deal. Like, oh, just save that person's life. It's not a big fucking deal. And like, that's a pretty extreme connection.
No, I get
but
it.
It's just like taking
it's relatable. It's like taking what you do as a human,
making it inferior to other people's careers.
Right, which is fucked up. It's like, don't.
Yeah, it's just comparing. It's just
fucked. It's just like, let me do my thing, and yeah, we'll definitely get into that next.
Yeah, because that's
episode,
like a whole nother thing. Yeah.
How to get your friends to be okay with you streaming, and when knowing when to walk away from it, or when to just like stop talking about it for sure. So
yeah, and just make sure that like if this is something that you want to do, don't let any person make you feel like you can't do those things. Like if they love you, if somebody loves you, your family, your friends, and like of course your family loves you, but like for them to just, they need to understand from your perspective. I think family is a little bit more difficult, like parents.
Oh yeah, they don't understand. They want what's best for you. That this is it's a very hard thing to turn into a career.
Yeah, it really is.
Very hard thing, and there's a lot of work to do. And it's not just sitting in front of a screen 8 hours a day
and blabbling on
and playing.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of extra stuff, side jobs that you have to do.
Money, time,
luck. It's a lot, and so it's like, yeah, like until you make full, you know, make this a full career, you know, that you have to have some sort of plan. If it's just you by yourself,
right,
you got to have a part-time job and stream, and hopefully
it's a lot of.
I know partner streamers that still have a part-time job.
Right. And it's because they're like, yeah, like it's like some of them are like, I need like you just never know, like a backup or something.
Right.
But also there's another like, oh, I also love doing this as well, where it's like, I need this for extra support, you know? And I envy those people who's working and doing all these things and trying to have their life and full-time stream. It's like, dude, you rock. Like, that energy, wish I could have it. Like, you know, right. It's like, God.
But. All right, no, 100%. Well, anyways, that's all the time we have for this week, guys. Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. The podcast is out. The podcast.
Dude, did you guys, okay, I just want anyone who's noticing to like.
On the video podcast.
On the video podcast. I got a Fire Nation jacket. And
obsessed with Avatar.
And I'm obsessed.
And she bought 2 coffee mugs, one with Iroh on it with like tea, and one with Momo and Appa. So
yeah. And then soon Naruto merch will come.
And Naruto merch is on its way. Oh man. But yeah, every Monday, 8 a.m. comes live. It goes live, and then our video podcast goes live Tuesday the next day, same time, 8 a.m. So whether you're watching on one of our podcaster apps or YouTube, thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, review, rate 5 stars all across. 4.5 if you're really, you know, if you're an asshole. But 5 stars, right? You know what I mean? And I'm Marco Cerna, also Mojo on Twitch.
And I'm Haley, also Lil Chicken Q on Twitch.
So whether you're catching us on the podcast, live on Twitch, or live on Twitch, we stream every week. You did something weird, Haley, with the camera. But we'll see you in the streams, guys. Take care.
I'm so sorry. I'm a terrible person.
Okay.